Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy Eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter. And today we're going to be ranking all of the palettes that I used in April. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me. We're getting into it right now. Now, I know this video is about a week and some change overdue, but I was taking a little bit of a break from my YouTube channel and just kind of like getting refreshed and re-energized, cleaning my brushes, like we're making progress, right? And so in this video, I had to come back in the beginning of May so that I could do this video and kind of keep on task here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 8 like pre-made palettes and then one palette that I was duping out that I want to show you, so I did include that in this particular ranking. And so the first thing up that we have coming in at number 9 is the Smoke and Mirrors from Gloss Gods. This is my first palette that I've tried from Gloss Gods, and I picked it up because it had this beautiful like smoky gray with some pops of mauve. These metallics are stupid pretty, like they are so gorgeous. And then this shade Looking Glass is actually a multi-chrome. It goes from like green at an extreme to gold to pink. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to catch everything that it's doing, but that's, you can kind of see it there. Like you have the pink down here and then it travels up to the green. It's a very, very pretty multi-chrome, very glowy. What I found frustrating about this palette is the mattes. These mattes, especially these two darker mattes, are very patchy and hard to blend, and they're a very thin formula, so it just was a struggle. And I felt like for gray shades it should not have been that much of a struggle. Like those should not be that complicated to formulate, and so I just kind of was like meh about the matte formula. The metallics I really like, so if I was gonna buy another palette from them, I think I would buy one of the ones that's like all shimmers, like all special shades, rather than one that's mattes and shimmers. But I like the concept. I like some of the shades, just not all of them, which is why I fell down to number 9. Coming in at number 8 is the BH 90s Remix Dance palette, and this one is obviously a little bit older, but I hadn't gotten a chance to use it, so I did pull it out a couple times to play with this month. And I like it, but I'm not in love with it. Like aesthetically, this looks so pretty, like this is my vibe right here. But when I actually go to use the shades, they're pretty soft, and I find myself wanting something to deepen it up with that is not just browns. So that part kind of left me like stuck, where I had to then go into other palettes to kind of complete my look. And it's not the end of the world going into other palettes. Like clearly I have other palettes to pick from, but it just, I don't know, like I like it, but I don't love it. Coming in at number 7, this is the Morphe Lunaris palette, and this is one of those newer like small formula palettes, and I really like this. This made a gorgeous smoky eye, much easier to blend than that Gloss Gods palette, and this even has like this deeper black, right? So I thought that would get like carried away really quickly, but it actually didn't. These two shades here have this very like sparkly topper type quality to them, where I think you could even use them as like a highlighter if you really wanted to. Now this is super blown out because my light is like on next level 100 right now, but I do think this is a really pretty palette. It's like nice and easy, like an on the go kind of palette. And for Morphe, the fact that they didn't make this like a 35,000 pan palette, I like that. So coming in at number 6 is the Sugar Drizzle Sugar Dreams palette, and this is one of their duochrome toppery type palettes. I like it. I'm not sure I like it as much as I thought I was going to, so I'm glad I got it on sale. I picked it up during the Black Friday sale that they had. It's very pretty. I like this shade a lot, which is funny because it looks like the least impressive shade in the palette, but it's this like kind of peachy pink with a blue duochrome shift to it. I really like that. These two shades here, they were kind of lost on me because they pull so golden yellow that in most of my eye looks, they're just too warm toned for what I'm trying to do. The rest of these shades here and this one here, very, very pretty. I like this pop of lime here. The only one I didn't try is this purple shade because I'm like, it's just like purple. Wasn't too exciting to me, but everything else looked really, really nice on the lids. Coming in at number 5 is the Melt Electrip palette, and I don't know that I have a video on this one, but I was trying it throughout the month, and I really like this particular palette. Now these shades over here, although they are like very red and bright and warm toned, I like them. I'm not obsessed with them, but I do like them. I like this shade a lot here, even though most people are not liking it too much. I have a feeling that it's supposed to be a topper, not like a fully opaque shade, and people are wanting it to be that opaque shade. But I think as a topper, it looks really, really pretty. Like, I don't know, you're probably not gonna be able to see that too much, but it has very little base pigment. You can see there, like, the color of my skin doesn't change appreciably where the swatch is, but it has a lot of shine. So I think it's a pretty color. I think people just are trying to use it in a way that it's not designed, but what do I know? And then this like kind of grungy, brassy, bronzy, this is very, very pretty. I really like this color as well. And then these shades over here, of course, slam dunk. Greens and blues will always get me no matter what. And one of my favorites is this like kind of Cinderella blue shade. Like, oh, it's so pretty and so glowy on the lids. I really, really like that one. Coming in at number 4 is the Blend Bunny Primal palette. Now, I am a huge fan of Blend Bunny palettes. This one is no exception. I will say, of course, that most of the reds, oranges, yellows, and even this dark green are not my favorite because they're very like primary color warm tones, which is just like not my journey. But these blues and purples, especially these two metallics, whew, make up for it entirely. I do like these kind of pastel-y pinks, and then this kind of cherry, it's coming more red on camera, but it's kind of like a cherry coral shade in real life. But I think those things together, they're still very pretty shades. I would definitely use them. I'm just not drawn to like kind of these primary like red, orange, yellow, and dark green shades. And then the corresponding metallics, I have used this one, it's quite nice, but these three I'm kind of like meh about. So it didn't make it all the way to the top because there's a handful of shades in there that I just don't care to use as much as the others. Coming in at number 3, this is my like handmade palette that I did, and I was trying to dupe out the ColourPop, the Alice in Wonderland palette that they just did, and then I added some extra shades to like really bring out what I thought would make a cool Alice in Wonderland palette. I used this for a couple of days out of the month and really, really liked the looks that I put together with it, but because I have such like beautiful textures in here, I'm not sure that I would necessarily need to rush to pick up the actual Alice in Wonderland palette because I did such a good job in my own mind of duping it out myself. Coming in at number 2, and I'm actually surprised that something beat this out, but coming in at number 2 is the Nomad Royal Europe palette, and the multi-chromes in here. First of all, the packaging. The packaging. This is like multiple layers of die-cut paper. I love that. And then inside, of course, is this really beautiful, deep, jewel-toned kind of color story. You've got 5 multi-chromes across the bottom. Stunning. And up here, you've got some really beautiful mattes. Now, the trouble that I have with this palette is that these two mattes look virtually identical on the lids. And then when you get over here, like these really, they don't differentiate themselves as much as I thought they were going to, so I kind of struggled to like incorporate multiple of the berry tones and multiple of these teal tones in the same look. I also found that there wasn't anything super light in this palette, which is fine. That is totally fine. But then I have to go grab something out of another palette to kind of pull in, and I wish I didn't have to do that. I really like this shade a lot. I know it looks like nothing, but it has this kind of like pukey green olive undertone to it that I wasn't expecting. I thought this was just going to be like straight up brown, but because it has that undertone, I think it makes it a little easier to mesh with some of these multi-chromes than if it was just purely brown. So that shade, I feel like, I don't know if anybody put a lot of thought into it, but for me, it seemed like a very thoughtful, intentional eyeshadow. Overall, definitely really like this. You definitely need something to kind of blend out your edges because there's just nothing super light in this palette. But I think especially because there are so many other Nomad palettes with lighter shades in it, this is a welcome addition. And then coming in at number 1 was the Berry Icy palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics. Now this palette I think originally is like $45 or $48, some crazy price like that. And they had it on sale, and then you could use a discount code on top of it. So I ended up getting it, I think, shipped to me for like $30, which I was way more excited about. This row here was what caught my eye the most on when I saw the pictures online, like the swatch of this shade really caught my attention. And I would say I probably use like this much of the palette, because these 2 rows over here of kind of these warm toned reddy browns are just not typically my vibe, so I kind of skip over those. But everything else in this palette I think is really, really pretty, and the looks that I've put together using this one I really like. Now I will say that between these lighter shades here and these deeper shades here, I'm not sure that there's as much variation as there could be, so it's kind of the same issue with the Nomad palette, although these are lighter. So yeah, I wish there was a little bit more variation between the light and the deep on each of these, but overall I do think they're really nice. They're really blendable, they go really nicely together, and the shimmers have lots of sparkle and dimension that I really, really appreciate. And with that said, that is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!